Hi guys, this is Tracy. Today I'm going to show you how to make this cute little Believe in the Magic Snowman project with the free SVG from this week. So the first thing we did was I showed you how to upload everything, brought it into Design Space, and I'm going to make sure I lock this, and I want to shrink them down a little bit, and I'm going to move them over to the side. Because we are putting this on a canvas, I want to make sure that I bring in my sizes first so I know how big to make this. So I'm going to bring in a shape. In this first shape here, I'm going to unlock this, and I'm going to make this 6 by 8. All right, and then I'm going to duplicate it, and this one I'm going to unlock, and I'm going to make this one 5 by 7. And the reason that we're going to do that, because we are using the canvas and we're going to make this a reverse canvas, I'm going to change this color to white here, and this is going to be on top. Let me center this. Okay, so since we're making this a reverse canvas, we're taking the canvas off of the wooden frame. So we have to account for the frame that's going to be here. So if we actually just went ahead and put our design on here, let me set this to the back. If you had it to where it was filling your whole design, it's going to be in the wrong place. So that's why when you do a reverse canvas, you want to measure the inside of your frame, which is where your project is going to go. I hope that's making sense. Okay, center this, and then I'm actually going to, let me change the color of this as well. Let's change this to blue. Okay, and I want to group it. Okay, so this is the design that we have. Now, I made the freebie with a few extra little snowflakes here if you wanted to use those instead. I'm just going to use paint as my dots here, so I really don't need any of those little dots, and I don't need these snowflakes. So I want to ungroup this, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hide these snowflakes. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and delete them because I don't need them. And same with this here. Let's ungroup this, and these little white ones here, I don't need any of those, so I'm going to delete those. Okay, so this is what we have left here. And the same thing with that, the round white part of the snowman's head. We don't need that either, but I'm going to leave that in here for right now so it helps with my positioning over here. Move that back here. Okay, so first let's just go ahead and I'm going to attach my Believe in the Magic. The reason I want to do that is so that those will cut together. You can leave them separate if you want to, that's up to you, but I want to leave mine together so that way when I press it, it's in the correct spot. So I'm actually going to ungroup this. Let me see what I have here. Okay, I have the Believe and the In the Magic together, so I am going to attach that. And then I want to, I'm actually going to send that to the back. Let me hide it so it's out of the way here. Okay, so on his little snowman face here, like I said, we don't need the white. So I'm just going to hide that just for a second. I'll bring it back so we're going to do our positioning so it's out of the way. Okay, so his eyes and the little smiley face here, I'm going to attach that. Okay, send that to the back so we can find the little dots again. His little eyes right here are already attached, so I don't have to worry about that. We have his nose, and then the cheeks are also attached. So if we were going to make this right now, I just want to look and make sure that it's all the right way. That we don't need his cheeks. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, so let's bring back that little, see if I can find the, there we go. Send this to the back. And I'm just going to group that just for right now. And let's bring our words back. Okay, and we will group that. Okay, so now when we line this up, I'm going to bring a shape in for the circle because I know that my ornament that I have, the ornament size is, I need to make it 3 inches. So we'll come up here and we'll just move 3. And the reason that I'm doing this is I want to make sure that this is not too big because my ornament is going to lay on here. So I am going to take this and size it down. Okay. So now when we go to make this, this is going to fit where we need it to fit on our project. So the size of the face is going to be the correct size because we made this a 3-inch circle. All right. So if you had made this too big, his face would be too big to fit on the ornament. So I hope you're following along with what I'm saying here. I'm trying to explain that that's the only reason that we brought that in there, because we want to make sure it's going to be the correct size. So that we can delete. This part here we can hide. We can hide that again. And then we're going to go make this. Okay, so when we make this, all the vinyl, the white, the orange, and the pink is all adhesive vinyl. The black, except for this one here, this one actually, we're going to move this to another mat, but this black right here is going to be HTV, so you need to make sure that you mirror this. Okay? So we're going to go back to the white here. Let's take this little face and we're going to move him to the white. Okay? Move this down a little bit. I'm going to move our carrot. Let's move him down here. And it'll land right in the right spot over there. And we'll do the same thing with the cheeks. I'm just going to move these over here. Okay, so now when you go to load your mat, you just need to remember that this is a white square. You need to have black here. You need to have the pink over here and the orange over here. We'll just go ahead and make it easy and just do 4 corners. Okay, so you'll cut that first, or you can cut this first, whatever makes you happy. But just make sure you remember that this is HTV, so you'll have to change your setting on your cutting machine as well. So I'm going to do my white first, the white mat, and I'm going to do continue, and this is going to be, I might have to change the settings on my computer, or on my Cricut. Okay, so I'm going to do adhesive vinyl first. You can browse your materials up here if you don't have, the reason that my favorites are up here is because I've actually put a star next to them and made them my favorite, because this is what I use most. But if you don't have this, if you go to browse all materials, you can type in what you're looking for here. You can scroll through, find what you need. But like I said, I know what I'm going to be using. And when I do adhesive vinyl, I like to use the wax paper setting. It works best with my machine. Whatever works best with your machine, that's what you can use. But I seem to have best luck when I'm cutting something small if I use the wax paper setting. And then up here, I always go to more. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this out on my machine. And then when I come back, we'll go ahead and do the HTV. Okay, so these are the colors of my mat. When I put my colors down, I always want to make sure that you use a brayer, because that will help your vinyl adhere to your mat. Okay, so the adhesive vinyl has gone ahead and cut. And now I'm going to go ahead and cut the HTV. Okay, so I went and changed the settings on my Cricut. I took it from custom and put it on iron on. And it's telling me to make sure that I have it mirrored, which I do. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get that loaded, and we're going to get that cut, and then we'll be over there making it all together. Okay, and now we're going to do our HTV. You want to make sure that you put your shiny side down towards the mat. And again, use your brayer so that you can get your vinyl to stay better on your mat, which will help with your cuts. Okay, go ahead and get this cut, and we'll get our project together. Okay, so this is the project that we're going to be making. I'm going to show you how to get the glitter inside, get your canvas painted, and get all that put together. So let's get going. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to bring over this piece of paper here so we don't make a mess. And if you've ever used polyacrylic for doing the glitter ornaments, that's what we're going to be using today. So I have just put mine into a little squirt bottle. Just makes it easier when you're doing your application. And this is my ornament. That's what I'm going to put it in. So, and you don't need a whole lot. Actually, I'm going to use this one here. If you've used polyacrylic before, you know you don't use a whole lot. When you have the ornaments that are together, usually you pour it in and then you'll shake it to get it mixed up inside there. So I just keep turning it till you get good coverage in there. After you get your after you drain this out and then put your glitter in it, I would suggest that you let it dry for a full 24 hours. But after maybe, I don't know, an hour or so, you might want to go check down, make sure wherever you have it that it hasn't spilled out to the side and stuck to whatever you're putting it in. Because I know with the other ornaments that I've done, to turn them upside down and then just set them inside of a cup and let it drain, it's very easy. But this, I was having a hard time getting all the little stuff out of it, all the polyacrylic out of it, and the glitter, so it didn't stick to the side of the bowl. So you can see I'm just moving it around, maneuvering it, trying to get all of the sealer on the inside here. Alright, that looks good. I think I got it all. So I'm going to turn this upside down and I'm going to let it drain for a little bit so that it doesn't puddle. So I'm just tapping it, trying to get out. You can see it dripping in there. With the other ornaments that you do that are enclosed, you really don't have to let it sit for very long. But because, I don't know if you can see on the side right here, it's pooling a little bit. I'm just letting this drip just a little bit more so that the glitter doesn't get caked inside there. Alright, I'm going to let that sit for a second and we'll come back and do some glitter in it. So this has been draining for a little while, maybe 3 minutes. Like I said, it doesn't really take long. You don't want it to be dry completely because you're going to put your glitter in there and you want it to stick to the wet parts in there. So now I'm just going to shake a little bit of glitter in here. I'm not a huge glitter fan, but I thought it would be cute with a little snowman face. With the first one that I did not have the patience to let it drain completely, so I got little globs inside. But live and you learn. That's the best part of being a crafter. Plus, if something's homemade, it doesn't really matter if it's got little flaws in it. Okay, so just do as much as you think that looks good to you, and then just tap out your extra. Okay, it looks like it's got good coverage. And then I would let that sit at least overnight. I did mine for, I think it was 24 hours, but I would let that sit and then check it periodically. You want to go back to make sure that this is not sticking to your container. But that looks pretty good. So I'm just going to set that aside. And of course, I have one that's already done. But you can see on mine, I did not have the patience to wait. And I didn't get full coverage on it. And I probably could go back and add more of the Minwax and put some more glitter in there. But I think this turned out all right. So now we're going to get to painting our canvas. Alright, so this is our canvas from the Dollar Tree. We're going to take it out of the container here. And we're going to take the canvas off of the wooden frame. Now this is what I was talking about inside of Design Space. When you need to make sure that you take in consideration that you have a frame here, because this frame is actually going to be on the outside of your canvas. So we need to take that off of there. And I'm just going to use a craft knife. Okay, finally. Now we can get these little pieces off of here. You can go back through and do that later. If you want to take your staples out, you can. That's completely up to you. clean up our mess here. Okay, now we're going to paint our canvas. I'm just going to go ahead and flatten it out here. And the canvas color I used, this is called French Blue. You don't really need a whole lot. I'm going to use this. This one's got little fibers that stick out there. Okay, we'll let that dry and we're going to paint the frame. For the frame, I am just using, this is just a whitewash. I don't paint the back because you're not going to see it anyway. Okay, let this dry and we'll get our vinyl done. Okay, let's go ahead and get our vinyl weeded. We have our HTV and our adhesive vinyl. Get our weeding tools out here. I'm going to cut this little guy down here. This is the face. I try not to waste too much vinyl. Yes, I'm one of those people that likes to keep all the little pieces. And I'm going to put a little slit at the top of this so I know which way my eyes go. That's not hard to figure out. And I'll do the same for this one here. Sorry, you're hearing my chair make all kinds of noises here. Okay, let's do our adhesive vinyl first. we're going to do our adhesive vinyl. We're going to go ahead and put it on our ornament that we already have ready here. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put these eyes right on here. And I'm going to use a small piece of contact paper to do that. And the reason I'm going to use a small piece of contact paper is because I don't want to stick this down and have it all stick completely. I want to put my eyes on first because that's going to help it all line up when I put it on my project here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a small piece of contact paper. Okay, and then very gently just push that down so that it sticks to the vinyl. So as you see, it didn't pull anything else up, it just put the eyes on there. Alrighty, and I'm going to cut myself a piece of transfer tape here. Alright, now I want to assemble my snowman face before I put it on my globe. So I am going to do my face first. Actually, I think I'm going to do the nose first. I always keep a picture of my design that I'm working on my screen so that I can refer back to it so I know where all my little parts go. I'm going to do, yeah, we'll do it that way. Okay, now we can pick all this up. And then I want to pick up my cheeks. Okay, now you have his face all together, so rather than trying to put on each individual piece, you have it all together so you don't have to worry about lining it up. I'm going to put something behind this so maybe you guys can see a little bit better. Okay, this is the chipboard that we're going to be using on the back, but I put this behind it so maybe you guys can see this a little better as we go. So maybe... Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut little slits all the way around here, and that will help with putting our face on because it's a round surface. Extra piece of something there, a little piece of fuzz. Okay, so now we got to remember that this is going to be to the side because this is where your bow is going to be. So we're going to actually put this little bow right down in there. So we want this to be tilted a little. Okay, and then I start just by putting his nose down. And then this, by having it cut, helps you to be able to pull it out so you can position it a little better. So you don't get a whole bunch of wrinkles in there. If it starts to wrinkle and you feel like you need to pull it up, just be very careful. Now that right there looks good to me. I'm going to take it off so that I can finish putting on the rest of the mouth. Okay, be careful when you pull it up. Make sure that everything is down. Okay, and then I'm going to lift this, and while I still have it, I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of the mouth on there. Okay, and then I can line this up. Okay, and there we have our little snowman face. All right, we're going to take a little break and wait for the rest of our canvas to dry, and then we will assemble it all together. All right, we're going to put our HTV on our canvas, and I just got a new toy. I got a Cricut Easy Press 2. So that's what I'm going to use to put our HTV on. And I read the directions, and I have to heat it to 340 degrees. And my time is going to be for 30 seconds. Okay, so we're going to wait for this to warm up. Shouldn't take very long. We're going to line this up. This is going to go on here. And I want to take my little dude here and make sure it's going to be in the right place. Get my frame. We're just going to line that up. So I think that looks pretty good right there. We're going to end up cutting off the rest of it, but I want to prep this first. And because this is painted, I'm going to use a Teflon sheet on top of it. Even though the directions don't say I have to, I don't want to take a chance of getting paint on my little press here. And I have to press this for about 5 seconds just to get the moisture out. Okay. And I'm going to double check this again. Okay, and then I have to press this for 30 seconds. And then it says to turn it over. And I'm going to make a little sandwich here because, again, I don't want to get paint on anything. And for about 10. My piece is in the way here. I'm going to turn that off. All right, we'll clean this mess up and we'll move on to the next step. All right, we're going to apply our frame on here. And again, I want to make sure that I'm lining this up. This little bow that I'm using, this is just a little mini bow that I got from the Dollar Tree. Came in this little pack like this. And what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to cut this off just a little bit in the back. And then I'm going to take that little hole right there, or that little tab, and I'm going to stick that through so when I glue it down, it'll adhere a little bit better. Okay. So I'm going to get this first, and I need to get a piece of chipboard that's going to go onto the back right there. So first I'm going to get my chipboard. I'm going to do it this way first. I'm just going to go ahead and put this on here, and I'm going to trace out a piece that I can cut out. This is pretty easy to cut. I'm horrible at cutting straight lines. So if you need to use some kind of cutting mat, see, even with the line there, I didn't cut it straight. Does anybody else have that problem, or is it just me? Okay, and then this is going to get adhered to the back. And I'm just going to use adhesive spray. This is what I'm using here. You can use hot glue if that makes you happy, but I'm just going to spray a little bit of this on, and I'm going to use a brayer to go over top of it to get it to stick down there. I'm going to cut this paper down, or the canvas down first, to make it easier to see a little better. Okay. All right, I'm going to spray this on the back, and then I'll be right back. Okay, I have my adhesive spray on there, and I'm just going to use this to help it stick down into the chipboard. I'm going to turn my glue gun on because I'm going to use that to help glue this onto here. So while that's warming up, make sure again, I am a checker and a double checker. I want to make sure that everything is going to line up right. This little snowman guy here, he will be the last thing that we glue on. And you want to make sure that you have it lined up correctly so that your bow does not overlap your words. So I'm going to check it again. Okay, and I'm also going to put little white dots on there for some snowflakes. But for this guy right here, if you want to use hot glue, you can. I personally wouldn't recommend it just because it's very hard to control. So I used this on the project that I already made, and it actually held really well. It has a fine point, and it dries clear. So I'm going to use that from the snowman again when I get to that point. So let's wait for my glue gun to heat up, and we'll get back to putting the frame on. Okay, what we're going to do, I'm going to put just a little bit of glue on my corners here, so I can glue this on like this. You can use a staple gun if you choose. I have said in the past, and I'll say it again, I am horrible with a staple gun. I always end up running a nail right through the middle of my project, so I avoid them at all costs if I can. So I'm going to use a little bit of glue, my hot glue, and sometimes when you push on it, it'll seep out a little bit. So I just have this little tool that I've had around for a while, and I'm going to help so that the glue doesn't stick through. That's my goal, at least. So let's see how this works. Remember, if you're working with hot glue, you need to work fast because it dries pretty quickly. And I'm just working off the rest of it here. If you've never seen one of these little things, these are wonderful. So you don't burn your fingers on the hot glue. Okay. Now that stuck pretty good, but I'm going to put a little bit in between here as well. Might be pushing my luck. Hopefully I don't get a big blob in there. Like I said, I'm not a fan of a staple gun, so I do what I can. Okay, and then I'm just going to check my edges all the way around and see where else I need to add some glue. Okay, that part's done. I'm going to leave my glue gun plugged in because I am going to use it again. So for right now, I'm going to do the little snowflakes. And I'm going to set this down again so I can get my placement right. And for my snowflakes, all I'm going to do is I'm going to use the back end of this little paintbrush right here. Okay, and I'm actually not even going to squirt any out. I'm just going to use what's in the lid. There's no wrong way to do it. Just dot on a few little snowflakes here and there. You can go more if you like, you can go less. I think that's pretty good. Alright, now I'm going to let this paint dry. It won't take too long, and then we'll come back and we'll glue it all together. Okay, I'm not quite sure if it's 100% dry, but I have zero patience, so we're just going to go ahead and go with it and hope for the best. So this is what I'm going to use to glue the little guy on here. I'm going to take this off, just kind of get... I'm going to put a little mark right down here because the bow is going to cover it anyway. That'll help me line it up a little. Okay, like I said, it's got a fine tip on it. Actually, I'm going to move that because I don't want to drip on it just in case. And I did end up oozing out just a little bit on my other one that I made. It does dry clear. But I wasn't sure how much I was going to need. I wasn't really even sure if it was going to hold it, but I'm quite impressed that it did. I let it sit overnight before I even touched it, so keep that in mind. You want to make sure you give it time to dry. And if you don't feel like it's secured enough, you can use a different kind of glue, or, you know, you're a crafter, I'm sure you have some other kind of glue that you might be able to use. Okay, and I'm going to take that hot glue and I'm going to glue this little guy on right here. You can fluff that bow up a little bit if you want to. You might want to, if you have anything that you can put pressure on, if you want to lay on top of it, you can, just to get it to stick a little better. And then you can decide if you want to put a hanger on the other one, on the back of it. This is the other one I made. Like I said, it's stuck pretty good. Haven't decided if I want to put a hanger on. I was thinking maybe something like this on the back, or some jute, or I might just set it up. But that's it. The project is done. Just give it time to dry and you're good to go. Hope you guys like this one. Make sure you drop some comments if you have any questions. Bring it over to the Facebook group and show it off. You know, I love seeing your projects, guys. You can find the free SVG on the website. It will be in the freebie library. And the fonts that I use are also listed. And all the products and all the supplies. Have a great day, guys. I appreciate you.